Hello, my fellow thespians. With all you guys confusing tapas bar with topless bars, I'm very hesitant to use the word thespians. You might confuse that with something else. Anyway, we are in the Roman Amphitheatre here in Cartagena a couple thousand years ago. Very cool. Much of it is original. Other little parts of it are being restored. Other parts are put so that we can walk on things like this. Very, very cool. One thing that many people, well, I'm sure many of you guys know this, but for those that don't know it, the Roman Empire used to view the whole Iberian Peninsula as kind of what I would call the Fort Lauderdale of the day. In other words, after you went to war for Rome and you went doing your conquests wherever you went, after service, you would go and they would retire you in the south of Spain, where the growing season was longer. They had fruits and vegetables and lots of wine and beautiful women, all the things every good Roman gladiator or not, but centurion, all of them would enjoy. Chrysalida's coming here to center stage. It was funny. I was reading the stuff on the wall, and it was showing one of them was areas of the amphitheater, and there are many things that we associate, or words that we use today, whether it be the orchestra here, and center stage, and then all this other stuff, and that actually came from the Roman days, which is kind of cool. Something that you don't see was that this right here was a series of houses, and these columns all came across and were over here. They're 2 stories actually. Oh, you can see there's the 2 stories there, and on the top they had a special roof that came out that according to the thing that I was reading said it was a soundboard, so that when people spoke or they played music or they did whatever they were doing, it would radiate from there and go straight out here so that everyone could have a good hear and listen to it. And that's probably why they have the seats up like that as well. Very, very cool. I don't know if you guys are into this sort of thing, but I certainly am. I think it's very neat. And they've done a really good job. I wanted to show you some of the stuff on the inside, but they didn't want, I brought my camera so I could film all the stuff, and they didn't want us taking pictures or filming anything on the inside. But they have a big underground exhibit showing all the different walls built from going back hundreds of years before, a few hundred years BC, and up to the 8th century, and they have all these walls that they've uncovered that are underground. So if you find ruins under your house here, instead of ripping up your house, they just build underneath, they build on top of it, and they make a place underneath so that people can still dig it up and learn from it and have people enjoy it, which is kind of cool. But I liked it when last year, and Chrysalida and her sister and I were all in Spain. We went to a place that they did a lot of stonework and shipped it off to other places in Spain, and they explain there that many throughout time, because people have been coming here basically for 2,000 years from the Roman Empire on, and because it's so hard to make a stone column that's straight and beautiful, and labor intensive, I should say, it was a very common thing back then that somebody might commission all these to be built, and then 500 or 1,000 years later, whoever was in power then might say, yeah, you remember that old ruined Colosseum? Instead of spending all the money to buy all these, let's go over and steal those. And so they get those and bring them over. There are many cathedrals and places like this that have been cannibalized, I guess you could say that. Parts have been taken and put onto other parts and repurposed. Another thing that I wish I could remember the exact story, but basically it goes that the reason why you see a lot of heads, or you'll see a lot of statues missing heads, was that at the time that it was the piece was commissioned by the artist who was carving it, that was a very expensive and long process. And so it was very common that you would have all these statues, and then politics would change, you know, whether it's the Romans or the Germanic tribes or the Moors or the Reconquest. But as things changed hands, so did their how much they liked different things. And so instead of, if they wanted to save something, you couldn't just take the whole statue with you. So if you, I mean, they didn't have Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, and they didn't have photographs. So if Chrysalida, the love of my life, were to die, you might, before she died, you might have a statue made of her. But then after she died and we had to move somewhere or whatever, you couldn't take the whole statue, so they'd take the head. And so that's why you see a lot of these that are off like that. At least that's the story, the way I remember they told us in Amor, ¿cómo se dice la ciudad nosotros va para la día con la chico de Ecuador o Perú? Con Maru?
Quito.
No, en España.
Oh, en España, Alhambra.
No. Con la día en la carro con la chico y nosotros va a la viñera.
Oh, I not remember.
Okay, so what? That was a long way to walk just to say that I'm not the only one with a bad memory. Vindicated. Haha. Anyway, we went to this place that I'd never been to last year, and it was really cool. There was a kid that was, I think he immigrated from Peru or Colombia or somewhere, or Ecuador or whatever, but he picked us up in his car and he drove us like 2 hours out to this place, and he told us all the history, and that was where they carved all the stones, and then he ended up taking us to a private vineyard, and then we had vineyard tour, and that was freaking amazing. But as good as it was, your old buddy Tim doesn't even remember the name of it, but I can look it up. Anyway, it's kind of neat to have this right in the middle of a, you know, urban setting here, right in the middle. And like I said, instead of tearing all the houses down, most of the museum is underground, and it's underneath all of this stuff, so they didn't have to tear up everything around it. Then around these guys, they're all sitting here. I'm wondering, because there's a whole bunch of lights and stuff. It kind of looks like they have concerts or functions here every once in a while. Can you imagine if you lived over here and this just happened to be where Sting was performing one night or something like that. Kind of cool. Anyway, that's about it. Those of you might notice in some of the videos that Chrysalida has been soldiering through, going up and down all the stairs that I put her through. 20 years ago, she was a motorcycle mama and had a motorcycle accident, messed up her knee, and so she has to be very careful with it now. And we bought special tape that's a knee brace tape for her, and I bought all these kits for her so that when we would go on walks like this, it would help her to you know, they add, like, basically adding fake ligaments. And we've never once used them. We always forget. We always go and then we're like, oh, we should have got the tape. But anyway, ¿tú tienes dolor o está bien?
No.
She says she says everything's fine. She's just hot. And with that, I think that's going to end our little update from here. We bought a 4 museum pass for 16 euros a piece. So I don't know, less than $20 a piece, and we get to go to 4 different museums like this for the day. It's got a self-guided tour, which is kind of our style, and so we're liking that. Prices are good. The Irish lads were supposed to come with us, but we left them at a bar, and I have no idea what time they got back. But being good Irish boys, they probably closed the thing very early in the morning, and they were not waking up in their boat, so we left without them. But with that, sorry about moving the camera around, but it's your old buddy Tim, wearing a shirt today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for everyone telling me that you like these daily updates, and I'll keep making them as long as you keep making them. You can like, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff. And special thanks. Not only did Florida Jack hook us up yesterday, and And Donald Flynn continues to hook us up all the time. Thank you guys so much, and many of you other people also take care of us, and I thank you so much. If you want to buy us a beer, hit the super thanks, or come on over to the Patreon side. I'll put a link in the description below. You guys take care, be safe, and as always, I'll see you on the one.